Oh, I think I might actually be live here. Okay, if I am live, hopefully you can hear me. If you can't, then please do say in the comment section below if there's anybody actually here yet, because this is still a very new venture. Basically, let me round this out for you if you've missed the meeting. Obviously, I am Zembloke. This is the Zembloke gaming channel where I cover gaming culture, that news, reviews, views, unboxings, events, discussions of, all that lovely, lovely stuff. Anything that's within the gaming sphere, I cover here. Anyway, this series that you're watching, hopefully become to be a series of this first show is a success and works the way I hope it does. It's called Vertical Slice. Within this vertical slice, I intend to interview in split screen format, which will happen very, very soon. Um, People of interest, at least I think they're of interest, within the gaming culture. Some of them might even be outside of YouTube. At least that's the hope. I've got a couple of people who I want to contact after this episode, and hopefully, everybody will be able to hear me. Now, hopefully, my guest will be popping in just a moment, although I'm not seeing them on screen. I am somewhat concerned. Ah, there we go.
Hey,
Ladies and gentlemen of the Z Fam, can you hear Mike and can Mike hear me? That's the
I can
question.
hear you.
Woohoo! Sweet. Righty ho. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Zen fam, and anybody who's stumbled across this vertical slice, to my side here is the fantastical uber Canadian Mike Gala Gaming.
That's
This
me.
gentleman, I've seen this gentleman rise, and we basically became aware of each other while we were both competing for YouTuber of the Year after both being finalists of YouTuber of the Month. Now, Mike has gone on to obviously take the crown and take control, but we'll get to that later. First of all, let's find out a bit about Mike and what makes Mike tick. So, Mike, was the first thing that made you look at YouTube and go, right, I'm going to take a crack at this. I could do this YouTube malarkey.
I I had wanted to make a channel for about 10 years before I actually made one. And originally it was going to be like tutorial videos on how to take apart and fix old systems and stuff like that. Um, and I built a rig to shoot it. I got stuff ready. I did tests, and then I never made a channel.
It
Um,
sounds like you were inspired in some ways by Spawnwave.
um, I'm not familiar who that is.
The
Um,
Spawncast? You don't know the
no,
Spawncast?
no.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
But there were a few people like so back then, probably like 2012, 2013 in them, but none of them were like consistent, professional, uh, kind of no nonsense videos. It's all like, oh, let's see if I'm able to fix this, and then you see troubleshooting, and there's a 50% chance that they actually fixed it or something like that. I wanted to do actual like tutorial videos.
Mhm. You wanted to
Um,
educate and inform.
and Yeah, yeah, like because my big thing is even back then, I mean, much more so now. Retro gaming was expensive, and how I got a lot of my collection was buying consoles that were cosmetically good but just weren't working, and so I was able to fix them. And so you replace or there's a fuse in there or a voltage regulator, stuff that honestly anybody could do. And I wanted to save retro consoles from going to the landfill and just show people how to do it.
Very noble.
Um,
So tell me, Mike, with
yeah,
this,
and
do you actually have like any qualifications in electronics or stuff like that, or is this basically all
no,
self-taught?
um, I wouldn't say so much self-taught. I'm old enough that we had like electronics class in high school, and that involved soldering irons and learning basic circuitry diagrams and stuff, um, and using potentiometers and things like that. I am by no means a professional. My day job, I do motion graphics and visual effects for film and television. Um,
Ah, that explains some of your shorts where you have such tasty, tasty effects.
the stuff I do on YouTube would not make me any money in the industry. It's kind of quick and dirty, but it's got its own charm. It's definitely fun. I do it with little to no budget, and it's just fun to do. But I do have that knowledge base to be able to whip up one of those intros in a couple of
Mhm.
hours.
So they obviously the fixing thing channel didn't progress any further than the
Never did.
idea.
Yeah,
So
and then
how did you
it
how
was
did you
about.
fall upon retro gaming then, and the collections therein?
Well, I've always ever since it was my first Atari 800, and I had that until '89, and then it was the NES, and then Super Nintendo, Genesis, PlayStation, N64, and then I had a period where it. I would say that sixth gen is a little bit of a blind spot. I played a bunch of PlayStation 2. I did have an Xbox, the original Xbox. I liked that. Um, and but like GameCube is a blind spot for me. Dreamcast was a blind spot for me until later. Um, great systems, great libraries, but just not something I did a lot because I got married in that period and I started having kids. Um, and
Ah,
the television homebrew game, those are homebrew are, for all intents and purposes. And I built some connections with publishers and distributors. I had a good size homebrew collection for multiple systems. And so I decided that much like you used to have like IGN for modern releases
hmm.
to at least theoretically tell you, what's this game about? Is it good? Should you spend your hard earned money on it? I noticed that there wasn't anything like that for homebrew, and that's what inspired me for my channel. So my full reviews that I do every Thursday morning, Eastern Standard Time here in Canada, are homebrew games. They're new games for old systems. And then I reviews like little YouTube shorts for original retro games.
Which is a lovely idea. I really like that mix of how you have your content, where you have the old stuff that exists, and you bring that in short packets, but the new things you give a bit more time, care, and love to because they're new and nobody knows about them, which I personally think is a lovely move on your
Yeah,
part.
and quite frankly, they're expensive. A new homebrew game for the Intellivision is $70 US. That's a lot of money. Um, but they're professionally done. I don't. Oh yeah, I've got one right here. Oh, let's take a look.
Yes, well, I've seen some of the cases you brought onto the show in the past, and
Yeah,
some of them they're better
so
packaged than some first party games I've seen recently.
100%. So the original television came in gatefold boxes. This comes in a gatefold box, new cartridge.
That's a thing of beauty in your hands. That is wild. And as I'm given to understand, you also have a sibling that's kind of into streaming as well.
Yes. So I have 5 younger brothers.
Five.
Um, so he'll be playing, for instance, like a Mega Man 2, and you can use your coins that generate the longer you watch, or you can buy them. Twitch has an opportunity to buy everything.
Yes.
But you can use your coins to basically troll him in the game.
So
So
have
you
you
can, like,
ever
if he's
dual
using a
streamed
special
with your
weapon,
brother?
you can drain that special weapon. Pardon?
Sorry, I said, have you ever dual streamed with your brother?
I have not. I've been on his stream a couple times, not too often. I'm not a huge Twitch guy.
Hmm. Yeah, I can understand that. I used to be big on Twitch, and then as the years have gone, with changes of jobs and stuff, I've just kind of fallen away from Twitch. But Twitch looks like it's slowly going down the plug hole.
It seems like that in some manners. Uh, I live stream sometimes when I can, but more often than not, videos are more my speed, just because of, how do I dedicate? Okay, I've got to block off an hour here or 2 hours here. So when I hit milestones, I'll do a stream, and every once in a while on a Saturday afternoon, I'll do a stream if I'm not doing something with my kids. But I'm more of a video guy.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, I do like doing live stuff. It's a fun way to connect with the audience. But I've often felt that having a curated, nicely edited piece of content that you understand the shape of, and then you're able to create a thumbnail for and put out into the world and pitch it to the audience, I just personally find to be more appealing. So I can completely understand you there.
It certainly does better on YouTube. The algorithm deals a lot better with video content than it does with live content.
I have to say, I think the algorithm has come to like you very much. I mean, you have surpassed at least 2K, and I think you're strongly on your way to 3K at the moment, aren't you?
I'm actually 142 away from 4K right
I've not been paying attention. Slap me.
now.
Well, that
But it's been yeah. I had the algorithm take a few of mine, and I'm not even sure if I call my thumbnails were better. I did notice that, certain reviews would do really well if they had a popular name in it. I did a Dragon Warrior review. Somebody made the original Dragon Warrior for the Intellivision, called it Dragon Quest, which is obviously the modern name of the series.
yeah,
It was always the Japanese name, but and that one took off. Intellivania, which was basically Castlevania on the Intellivision, took off. Things with popular names, and I shot up in subscribers. But then now I'm kind of in a plateau. I'll gain about 50 a month for the last couple months,
hmm
and I'm fine
it
with
goes
that.
that way
It's
sometimes. I mean, sometimes you'll
yeah,
you'll do a big rise, and then you'll just peter along for a little while, grabbing one or two here, one or two there. You might drop a couple, then a week or two later, you'll be
yeah,
bumped up by like five. YouTube is funny like that. On that kind of
yeah. It
thought,
goes in
though,
bursts.
on that kind of thought, what would you say to aspiring tubers in the making who are like looking at chaps like you and me and other other channels of that, that sub 5K marker, who are trying to like go from zero to hero? What would
Yeah.
what would Mike Scala Gaming say to such young channels that doesn't get said by all these YouTube uh channels that go like, oh, raise your SEO with these 5 tips?
Um, I'm not sure. Like I'm sure you have as well. I've watched a lot of them. Understand the algorithm as best you can, um, and then be consistent in your content. So
Mm.
I've noticed when I cover Atari or Intellivision,
Yes, you've certainly found your audience. It's important to find your audience and then make sure the
when
audience
I
is keyed
do
in. Yes.
NES, When I do NES, despite the fact that it's a more popular system, those videos don't do quite as well because it's pushing my content to people who are more probably pre-NES. I still make a video, but have something that your audience can expect to see you, whether it be once a month, once every 6 months,
Hmm.
but just be consistent.
That's something I wish I could
I
do more
found
of
helpful.
personally because my shift pattern at work is never the same week to
Yeah.
week. But at least I try to get out at least a video a week. Sometimes I get lucky and I can
Yep.
get out 3 videos a week. And I do try to chuck out the
Yep.
occasional short here and there just to spice things up. And of course, maintaining YouTube posts. And speaking of posts, uh, hey hun, Puds, nice to see you in the chat, sir. So you've got your Alvaroco thinking, you've got the roots of where you came from. The next question is, where do you think you're going? What's the eventual goal? What's the light at the end of the tunnel for Mike?
Um, for me, it's just I try to improve my stuff every video. Like if you go back and you watch my early stuff, I started my channel January of last year, and the production value was not as big. I started doing my intros probably about a month or two in. Um, and then I started doing the mini reviews. I started posting the gameplay footage. Like things just kind of progressed from there. And now I've got the green screen. Actually, you can see right there, it's hanging from a pole that I installed in my office. I got some lights up there. Um, I do
It's so
small
cool that you
things,
have your own space. I wish I had my own space. I have to basically construct and deconstruct my entire YouTube setup every single video.
which I used to have to do. Now, thankfully, I work from home for my job. And
Ah,
so I got it, and it's a small, it's maybe a 10 by 10 space. Like it's not a big space in here, but I've been able to kind of make it like I've got all the controllers hanging in the.
oh,
Oh, I'm
hello.
back. Am I back?
All right, cool.
Okay. I've got my kind of consoles and the VCR there to hook up to my capture card. Like I've got a good setup in here now that takes me less time to set up. But in future, I do have some ideas. I think right now I'm a niche within a niche within a niche. Like there's the first niche is gaming, then it's retro gaming, and then it's homebrew gaming. And so that's a small but dedicated audience. And
Hmm.
if I wanted to grow much more beyond kind of where I'm currently at, I would have to uh, expand that niche a bit. So I'm dedicated to doing that homebrew review every week. But I've got some video ideas that will kind of broaden it and still keep within the realm of homebrew and certainly retro gaming. It's all retro gaming, um,
Yeah.
but expand it to be maybe a little more for a broader audience. And my hope is that stuff like that will help my channel to continue to grow. But even if it doesn't, honestly, I do this for fun, so I'm
Indeed. I
okay with
mean,
that too.
if you're not doing it for fun to start, oh, we've got two voices going off here.
I only hear one.
I can hear myself twice. I'm hearing me and then I'm hearing myself again. Right. Well, we'll just go with it. Hopefully, the audience can't hear that. Where was I? I lost my thread there. Yeah. So you've got your podcast that you do with those other chaps. Is that
Yes,
a way of
Tuesday nights.
expanding your repertoire?
That was so the person that uh, hosted hosts it. I'm kind of the co-host. And it was his idea. He was the guy that nominated me for YouTuber of the Month, Retro Bliss Gaming.
Ah,
So
yes, I
that's how
remember
we
that.
met. And a lot of the guests that we have on were other people that he nominated. So Mr. Post Style, Ballistic Coffee Boy, Game Closet, we've all become friends. And so, yeah, that's how that came about. And the way I simulcast it on my channel, and sometimes when we have a guest, they'll simulcast it on theirs. And the whole idea is, um, like, it's we're not competing for views. I'm not sitting there being like, oh, watch it on my channel and not on his. But it's nice where if somebody finds it anywhere, they get to see all of us. And
Yeah.
we link to each other in our descriptions. And if somebody's watching on Phil's channel, Retro Bliss's name is his real name is Phil. Somebody watches on Phil's channel is like, hey, I kind of like that Mike guy. I might get a subscriber out of it. I might get another person looking at my content. So that's great.
I think that's something you and I share in our particular YouTube ideologies is the sense that community is key to YouTube, especially YouTube gaming.
Yeah, 100%. When I started, I was kind of an island, and it wasn't until the YouTuber of the Month competition that I met guys like, and I see him in your comments all the time, PJ Venom. I met
Oh
like
yeah.
just, and it's like, here's this guy from Ireland. I know he doesn't care about homebrew games, but he's commenting on all my videos. Like, it's a community thing, and I'll watch some of his videos, and I don't really, if he's talking about a Smash Brothers competition or something like that, it's not really my thing, but you're just kind of hanging out with somebody, and I love that.
Hey hon, yeah, I know we've got the echo, dude. Hopefully we'll find some technical way around it. Otherwise, just bear with us, and hopefully in episode 2 we can get around this particular technical glitch. But do please stick with us, bro. Sorry, I interrupted, Mike. Sorry, you were saying.
No, I'm just saying, and maybe if I turn my volume down, maybe the echo's coming from me.
Could be.
Is that any better? Try talking.
Let's see if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can
You
still
can
hear
still
me
hear
too.
some.
Ah,
Yeah.
I think it's one of these things. It's just because it's in the same. I assume I'm coming through your PC speakers or something, or your phone speaker.
I'm just on my phone. Yeah, you're on my phone speaker.
Yeah, that's why I went the
Well,
headphones, fella.
let me not be dumb. Give me 1 second here.
Oh, kid, didn't be so hard on yourself, big man. Rightio,
Okay.
can we hear a mic?
Oh, wait a second. Let me Bluetooth the speaker.
Ah,
Let's be all 21st century about it.
hit them with the sonic screwdriver, bruh.
Okay, Bluetooth.
It seems to have gone a little bit still, but hopefully that'll improve in a second. Can you still hear me, Mike? Because you've paused on my end. Hmm. Hello, hello, hello. I don't know if Mike can hear me or not. Um, right, so while we wait for seeing if Mike can sort out why we can't actually, he's paused for you too, Hayron. Thanks. Um, yeah. So the eventual hope for for this series is to basically start interviewing some bigger and bigger and bigger people and really get a sense for gaming culture as it stands currently. And just really, well, yeah, because I'm not coming through his phone.
All right.
Hey, there he is.
And come on. It's not coming through my headphones. Is the
I'm not coming
settings
through
in
your
here?
headphones. Oh, and I can still hear me.
Yeah.
Oh God,
This is our first day, guys.
it's like the Lego movie. Everything is broken.
Yeah. Oh, is it? It's
We'll slog it out. Don't worry. Right.
well. I
So
want it to be good for
you
your
wanted to do it
audience. Yeah.
right. I understand.
Well,
Yeah.
it's my
So
first day, guys. I'm sorry.
don't worry about it. Anyway, so now that you've been doing YouTuber of the month for what's it now? Oh,
Working on
7 months,
month 8.
nearly 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's been the thing that's probably surprised you the most? And on the flip side of that coin, the one thing you saw coming that you're kind of like, I nailed that.
Well, okay. What surprised me the most, I guess, probably because the month that I was in, I needed 110 votes to win. And then for YouTuber of the Year, I needed like 150 something votes to win. And it surprises me that half of these months somebody with 25 votes wins.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed. It's sort of like when it came down to you and me, we had votes flying all over the shop. But the
Yeah.
last 2, 3 months, the vote quota has been significantly down. But yet the view
Like
rate
this
has
month.
been steady from what I've seen.
Yeah. And it all depends on how much um, people want it, right? Like there's been a couple months that I've seen definitely higher. This month, I know the person who is at this point in time most likely going to win is somebody who told his community in multiple videos, or at least mentioned it. And that honestly will push you over in most months. There have been pretty big channels with pretty big following that just never mentioned it. And so they'd
Yeah.
only get 2 or 3 votes.
I mean, in our
And
year, I mean, I was pimping the the ever living nonsense out of it. You were going for it. Mark Goes Blind Gaming was going for it, and by the way, I might do him in a future interview because I find him to be a most interesting fellow. But getting on camera would be the issue. I think he doesn't do
well, he's a
camera.
big floating eyeball now. I don't know if you saw that episode, but
I remember that. That was
I
fun.
caught him on camera. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was so was it was I was also it's Coopolo Nerd, wasn't it? That was us in our running.
Coopula Nerds was the last one, and they were my nomination
Yeah.
um, for
And
YouTuber of the
like they
month.
did a bit, but they're not as much as I thought they would have done.
Because so they were moving. They were under the impression
Ah,
that YouTuber of the month or YouTuber of the year was decided in January after the last member was voted in, and so otherwise they probably wouldn't have joined. I'm sure they would have done quite well if they had put their whole everything behind it, but it was just a bad time for them and their family.
yeah. And I found it's just been a really great thing. I mean, I first got involved with it when Pixel Generation Pixel was doing it, and I really like Generation Pixel. I find him to be a most entertaining chap, and
Hmm.
he got me into watching the whole YouTuber of the month thing, and obviously you know, I was lucky enough to get nominated that year, and I got a couple of subs out of it, and I got right into the community. I was there voting every month after I was
Yeah.
discovered him, even though before I got a nomination. So then when it happened again with last year when um, the Real Bit Wars was running under Chris, he did a really lovely job. It was a very much a nice low key affair with a few laughs and the whole time travel thing with Darth, and I really liked his approach, and it really felt like the community was involved there. And I think this last sort of year or so, especially the last few months, people have been so involved in various sort of, shall we say, outside of YouTube concerns. I think that's detracted people from things like YouTuber of the Month, from the Game Awards, from other sort of more gaming topics because a lot of people feel like they've got to watch, shall we say, the other news events that are happening with the choices available therein.
Big, massive.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
Lord knows there's a lot
You'll
going
notice
on.
how much
But
I talk around
the
that.
yes, but I think and like you said, the views layer, the amount of votes are actually higher this year than they were the last couple months. Higher this month than they were the last couple months. And I did look back, and there were a few months of the real bit, and did a job of lending significance to the competition, like by doing the history and going through all that. I really liked what he did there, and obviously, I'm not even touching that, but I've added that panache of production value and a little bit of humor, and some theming. But no, my thought is, even if there's a month where the video gets 100 views and there's only 20 votes in the entire thing, it's still special to at least one of those content creators that are nominated that month. And so it's my job for the remaining 5 months of this competition and the YouTuber of the Year thing is to make it special for them, because even if nobody else participates, I know how I felt when I was nominated. I had never heard of the competition, and I
Yeah,
have
you
no
you
doubt
kind of came to it
that
sort of
you.
like going, "What's this thing? I don't." Oh, didn't you?
Well, yeah. So Phil emailed me, and it's just like, hey, I have to nominate 5 channels, and you don't know me, but can I nominate you? You've got a good channel. And I said yes, and then I looked into it. And again, one of the great things about what the Real Bit Wars did is he had that history bit, which is why every episode I do that little history snippet of it, because it lends credibility. It's not just some schmuck saying, "Hey, I'm going to run a competition of who's the best." It's 15 years of
Yeah,
heritage,
it's
and
legacy.
yeah, it's a legacy, and I'll give you a little preview or spoiler exclusive to your channel. I'm not going to mention it on my channel at all until it happens, but exclusive to you.
Ooh,
So I live in Canada. I live in the Toronto area. There is another person who lives kind of close to the Toronto area, certainly within driving distance. And in the YouTuber of the Year episode at the end of the year, Jason Relaxation will be in that episode. The person who founded YouTuber of the Month. Yeah.
nice. Because
I
he's
got a
kind of
hold of
basically
him.
retired, isn't he?
He doesn't do YouTube anymore. But I remember when I was just going to retro game, video game swaps and stuff. Um, when I saw this competition, I was like, I know that guy. I've seen that guy. And then I looked on his YouTube channel and some of his old things. I'm like, yeah, I know that guy. That's Ryan. I used to buy stuff from him. And so
Well,
I
do
found out
please
we had a
pass on my
couple
best to
mutual.
Jason because I love what he started.
I will. But I got a hold of him, and he's agreed to be in that. So that should be good.
That's good. Uh, by the way, Gavilar88, love you, brother. Nice to see you in the chat. Gavilar88, for those of you who don't know in the audience, he's actually a past alum of hashtag support Scottish YouTubers. If you don't know what that is, basically, I go around YouTube and I look for small Scottish gaming YouTubers under 1,000 subscribers and I spotlight them for free. So if you know of anyone or you are one, hit me up. Find me on Twitter or whatever, or my PSN. Everything I have is Zenbloke. It's like, so just tap Zenbloke in Google and you'll probably find something with my face plastered on it and then just fire a message at me. You'll be grand. So,
And that's
Mike,
awesome that you do that.
well, thank you. So, Mike, I have to wonder, right? How does your family find your YouTubing? How, like I know from mine, my boy kind of looks at me and goes, I know you YouTube, Dad, and yeah, fair enough. And I know sometimes my wife basically looks at me with her eyebrows in the ceiling and go, you really do this, don't you?
My kids have a pretty wide span. So my oldest is 18, and then I have a 15-year-old, and I have a 9-year-old.
Who is cute
My
as all
9-year-old,
all get it, by the way.
yeah, my 9-year-old thinks it's the coolest thing. She wants to be in every episode. I've put her in a few of my intros. My boys have been in a couple of the intros, but they're mostly like, eh. Mind you, I was petty enough. I got my boys to both get their friends at school to vote for me for YouTuber of the Year.
Hey,
And they did
you
it.
got to hustle, homie.
Yeah, that's right. They did it for me. Um, and they do like doing some of the stuff. Whenever I have to play two player, my wife does not play video games. My wife,
Yeah.
um,
My
she
wife
was
can't.
she's
She like it when the game is moving around. She gets like motion sickness and stuff. She just no. And it's like if I'm
yeah.
playing a game, I basically have to pause the game. Otherwise, she'll like get a headache while she's in the same room as the game.
Oh, can you imagine if she put that VR headset on? That would be bad. That gets me sometimes. Um, but so they think it's cool. Mind you, my daughter had the best burn. We were at the dinner table and she was talking about YouTubers or YouTube or something and how she wants to be a YouTuber. And which I do not advise, by the way. No, but 99.9% of us do not make a bloody cent on YouTube. But um, she said something and I was like, "Well, I'm a YouTuber." And she completely innocent, didn't mean it, didn't understand what she was doing. She's like, "No, real YouTubers." And my boys just died laughing. And I'm like, "Ouch." True, but ouch.
Man, sometimes kids can just get you.
That's right at the jugular.
I mean, like I once did an episode a couple of years back now with my boy, and we were sort of like, it was very much in the gaming culture sphere as where I live, where I was basically going about what it was like for me as a mid 40s plus gamer, and for him as an early teenage gamer, and where we're alike and where we are unalike. And I
Yeah.
found that to be a most interesting episode. But at most of all, aside from the fun we had in the discussion, it was just really cool just doing a video with him. But then on the flip side of that, when I recently did the Glasgow Gaming and Anime Convention, I wanted him to do some camera work, and he didn't want to take the camera, not because he didn't want to help his dad, but because he got a whole bunch of sort of like feeling he was going to be in people's way and felt anxious that he was going to be standing there with a camera while people are trying to move around a convention, and
Yeah.
he was going to be this kid with a camera being in people's way, and he just couldn't deal with that little internalized guilt.
That's I can understand that. There are times like I've shot stuff at conventions and sometimes you feel like an idiot setting up a camera and like people are walking by and like get out of the way because a lot of these conventions are pretty tight and packed anyway. But you got to do it if that's part of the hustle.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm quite a gregarious chap. And when I go to a convention, I'm wearing my logo t-shirt. So it's like I'm basically in clothing form shouting, YouTuber coming through.
Yeah. I
And
try to
sometimes you
hide the
just have
fact
to,
sometimes.
like the doctor we both love so much. Sometimes you have to walk a bit like you in the place.
That is very true. Yeah. You gotta play the part.
So let's get down to some more sort of tech specs of the channel. So while we work towards the closing parts of this interview, I'm curious to know what's your process and what equipment you use to actually edit your videos.
So, my process is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday every week. I'm up till 5 or 6 in the morning because I work from home. So my usual, let's say Monday. and let's say Monday not during. My wife gets my daughter off to school. My boys take care of themselves. I get up, I work, I have lunch, I work, I make dinner for the kids, and then after dinner, I play something with the kids. It could be a board game, it could be a video game. We play a lot of Nintendo Switch. Believe it or not, we still play some Wii U. Um, but and then when the kids go to bed, there is a very Canadian. There's a Tim Hortons 15 minutes from me. I walk to
I
Tim
know of
Hortons. I
Tim
get my
Hortons. My wife has a
yeah,
Canadian
yeah.
friend who moved here like about about 12 years ago, and there's actually a Tim Hortons in Inverness, I think it is.
Okay.
And she introduced my wife to the Tim Hortons there, and she raved of the what was it, the donut holes, I think it was.
Oh, the Timbits.
Yes, that was it, Timbits.
Yeah, Timbits. Um, it's Tim Horton Canada's very famous for Tim Hortons. It's really nothing special. It's a blue collar coffee place with donuts. But it is part of my routine every night. I go and I get a coffee to prep myself for what I'm about to do, and then I work on YouTube till I'm about to collapse, 5 or 6 in the morning, and then I wake up at 9 and do it all over again.
That's
Um,
brutal.
but that's the only time I have to do it. Sometime, like if I have to shoot something during the day, that'll be on a weekend, but I have to plan it ahead. And so what I do is I play the game. Usually on a Sunday night, I play the game. I play it enough to be able to review it. So if the game has an ending, I do try to beat it. And thankfully, older games, if they have an ending, they tend to be shorter. They tend to be very hard, but they're short games. So if you get good at the game, you can plow through it. It's like the original Super Mario Brothers. I can beat in about 10 minutes,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
using the
the games
warps and all that.
from the systems you generally tend to review from most. I mean, they are short by nature because of the medium they're produced on.
Yes, and a lot of them too are clones of arcade games, and so they have no ending. So you just have to play it long enough to have a good feel of it, and to see all the enemies and whatnot. But so what I'll do is I'll capture my gameplay footage. When I can, I capture it through emulation. Otherwise, I use an original console with a capture card, and then I write a script. I know the one of the first things that I always do for everything is think up what I'm going to do for the intro. Sometimes I can do it in the office here. I just drape the green screen behind me. Sometimes I have to set up the green screen somewhere else in the house if you got to see me fully stood up. Sometimes I go out, like I shot some in the car in a parking lot, and then just graphically changed the backgrounds around me to make it look like I'm in a different environment. Like there's one of the things with my career is I can kind of think of a quick and dirty way to make something look like something else most often. And then I will shoot my on camera stuff. Um, I bought myself actually a little teleprompter that clips on the front of my camera so that I can. When I started doing it, I tried to wing it, and that just made for a terrible review. It's great for like your discussion topics. It's terrible for a review. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm completely scripted, even the on-camera stuff, and then I record my voiceover, and then I edit everything together. Not using a proper editing program, I use After Effects. Again, being a graphics guy, After Effects can be used for editing, and I use it for editing because I know it like the back of my hand. I've been using it for 20 years, over
Yeah.
20 years.
I mean, my process is a little bit different because first off, I don't have a script. Primarily because one, I'm dyslexic, so if I have a script, then I can't. It becomes a bit more robotic, and I can't actually have the flow.
Well, and the difference
I like the
too is
spontaneity.
and when you're talking about, because again you're not a review channel, you're a discussion
Hmm.
channel, you're a let's talk about this and think about this, and I'll sometimes do videos like that, and those aren't scripted because they have, in order to be natural,
Hmm.
you have to almost be working it out while you're talking about it,
Yeah.
and that's a
And,
big part of it.
and when it comes to my footage, it's like it's either capture from PS5 from the internal capture device, use and then feed that through Share Factory Studio because it comes with the PS5 and therefore
Yep.
basically free because I'm skin to booze. Or I'm filming on my phone, the same phone I'm talking to you on now, because I have a Sony Xperia 1 Mark II. I would love the new Mark 6, but
Yeah.
money's being money. But I basically, whenever I do that, I shoot the video on the phone, I put it into Dropbox, and then from Dropbox, I stick it on a stick on my computer. Then for the stick on my computer, into my PS5, upload to the PS5, and then edit from there.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a spaghetti junction of how I get my content out.
And there's definitely some things in my workflow that could be streamlined or could be more efficient or better, but it works for me, and that is the most important thing. If you can, whatever it takes for you to get from point A to point B, use it. No shame in anything. If you use Microsoft Paint to make your thumbnails, go nuts, buddy. Right?
Hey, you fake it till you make it, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Mike, it has been absolutely lovely talking to you. Thank you for being part of the first episode. Hopefully, I can get more episodes out there. Um, if out there in the audience you have an idea of who I should talk to, then please, obviously, typey down below. Let Zenbloke know, and hopefully, if I contact them and you contact them too, maybe with a little bit of group pressure, we can bully them into an interview. So before we go, Mike, give the ladies and gentlemen who have come to know you through this video a little bit of a pitch of your channel, and then we'll wrap things up.
My channel is Mike's Gaming Gala. We've got a whole variety of different things. I cover homebrew games for retro systems, and I do funny skits at the starts of all of my reviews. I've got mini reviews for original retro games. I've got a podcast every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where we talk about a variety of stuff. Again, 99% retro related. And every once in a while, I will live stream playing some old games, usually on a Saturday afternoon. Again, that would be Saturday evening over in the UK, but Saturday afternoon Eastern Standard Time. And always open to expanding new content and talking about whatever and joining guys like Zenbloke and just talking about gaming and YouTube in general. I'm happy to.
Cool. Right, so I've got to figure out after I've said my outro phrase of how to stop this stream. So while I'm actually figuring that out, I will do just that. So, hashtag support Scottish YouTubers, and of course, as always, nay bother.
Nay bother!
Right, now how do I shut this down? Let's see. Remove guest. I don't want to remove guest. That would be rude. End stream. Ah, that's how it goes. End stream. Cool. Lovely. Well, thank you for that, Mike. Catch you when I catch you, bro.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.